Welcome back, everyone. It's been a while, but finally made some space for this bastard to come back into the shop. Or shop. It's a garage. It's a garage. Nothing fancy here. We are going to start tearing this thing down to get ready to put all the parts on the new Civic that is not yet here, because that's still in here with the motor out again. I'm pretty sure I got coolant leaking into one of the cylinders from the heads. So, yay. Get to tear that back down, send the heads off to a machine shop, and hopefully it works next time. But at least today, we are going to get the suspension and brakes off. Don't know how much further we're going to get, but we're going to at least get the suspension and brakes off. Go from there. Alright, I lied a little bit. Instead of doing suspension, tonight, we got most of the front end taken apart. So, we got, obviously, radiator, core support, all of that's out. It's all heading over there, behind that crap. Wiring harness is off as much as it needs to be. Coolant's drained, oil's drained. Yeah, so, I actually started up top instead of down below. But I really just wanted to get started on something. So at this point, there's not a whole lot holding the motor in. A couple fuel lines, a couple vacuum hoses, whatever. Once we get the suspension and brakes off, which will be next. It will be next. We can get this pulled out of the car and start prepping it for its next life. I don't know how much of disassembling this I'm going to film, because obviously I filmed building it. Disassembly may be, hey, this was done, blah, blah, blah. And then definitely with building the next one, you'll see all of that process, because that's going to be a lot. We'll see what I do next. So like I showed you in the last clip, motor pretty much itself is ready to come out. We got motor mounts and axles that need to be disconnected for that to be removed. So to do that, this lovely stuff has to come out of the way. So we're going to get both sides of the brakes taken off. I've already got the axle nuts off. Really, it's pretty simple. There's two bolts and a nut holding on the ball joint to the lower control arm, brake line, and 3 strut mount bolts up top, right about there, and the whole knuckle comes off. So we're gonna do that on both sides, pop out the axles, and probably pull the motor today. We'll see how much time I have though. Another quick update: the suspension and brakes are now off. I got the driver's side axle out. So you get the passenger side axle out. So the motor is free to evacuate its home. So for anybody K24 swapping in 8th gen, make sure you get the proper header for it. Now, this isn't going to matter at this point, because it's not going to have this header on it when it goes into the next car. But take a look at this. You look down there, see where the header hits the firewall. It is touching. You can't really see it very well, but there is no gap between the header and the firewall. And that was with me spacing out the rear motor mount to give it a little extra angle to clear the firewall. Would also explain why there is a massive amount of vibrations in the car, but minor details. It's not going to be an issue on the new ones. So just an FYI, that's the rear motor mount. As you can see, I had it spaced out when I had it bolted up, and it was still touching. So, but now we need to get the header unhooked from said motor, so this guy can come out. Alrighty, well, I think that's where we're going to end this one. Motor is out. And sitting over here with the FA20 from my brother's car and all the old motor mounts, which are probably going to be for sale. Got the intake off over here. Lots of bolts and nuts over here with the intake. It's also probably going to be for sale. And the header. It's also probably going to be for sale. There's been a change of plans on some stuff. That new Civic that I bought that was going to be the replacement for this one, got it up in the air. It's pretty well rusted out underneath. So instead of swapping this guy here and all the wiring and all of this stuff, don't mind that stuff. That's for this guy that's getting torn down again because there's coolant leaking into one of the cylinders, so now the heads need to go off to be decked. Good times. So that's another couple weeks out at least. What we're going to do is rebuild this one. Basically, I'm going to strip down the other one. I'm going to take fenders, hood, trunk, doors, all that stuff off. I have spares for this because it's the same body and everything. And then I'm going to cut the quarter out of it to fix this damage over here. As you can see, it is pretty well crunched. I had a tow truck not pay attention and sideswipe me on the highway. Luckily, it was only about 5 miles an hour, but you can see there's pretty good damage to the inner skin here. This right here is all inner skin, damage to the inner skin. This is all inner portion as well. So going to cut all of that out of the other one to fix this one, and then this will actually get stripped like the other one already has, and all the other fun stuff that will come with that. So it's going to be a bit of a process. The transmission, it's right over there, is going to be going to Gear Driven down in Florida to get built for 800 horsepower. I won't be making that much, but I like the gear ratios of the 800 horsepower setup better than the gear ratios of the 500 horsepower setup. And then this is going to get a rebuild too. It'll get going to stay with the stock flywheel. I'm going to throw a twin disc clutch on it. The AC compressor is going to go away. It's just not hooked up. AC lines in here, I'm pretty sure I just cut off at the firewall. Yeah, I just cut them off at the firewall there, so that'll be patched. Everything that's not needed for the track is going to go away. So a lot of the wiring, like all the stuff for the cruise control is going to go, all the speaker wiring is going to go, everything, it's going to basically get completely rewired. I'm going to use the stock harness, but everything that's not essential for it to run is going away. So like all the airbag stuff is going to be gone. Speaker wiring, like I already said, cruise control. I mean, it'll keep what it needs to function. The headlights, turn signals, brake lights, all of that, obviously. Run the motor, power steering, all of that good stuff. But the accessory stuff that's not essential to running the car is going to go. Getting a new valve cover, get one that's powder coated with bungs already welded onto it. All of the timing components are going to be changed out with billet ones from Drag Cartel. So it's going to get a pretty big overhaul. It needed it anyways. As you can see back here, there is a ton of oil. And it's all coming from right here on this corner of the valve cover gasket. So that's good. If I hadn't pulled the motor, I never would have saw that, because to get to that spot, you're like down back here underneath the cowl right next to the header, and you're not seeing that without pulling the motor really. So, but it's going to be a long process because, well, first of all, it ain't cheap. Secondly, that's 2-month turnaround, roughly month or two turnaround to get it shipped out there, rebuilt, and sent back. And then just ordering parts, waiting on stuff to show up and whatnot is, oh, that's nice. That's just been, it's crushed. So that's good. But there's a lot that's going to go into this. Most likely we'll get a new set of wheels just because, obviously some stickier tires to handle the extra power and whatnot. But that's the plan for this car now, because the other one is, well, now it's just a parts car. So that's good. Granted, it only cost me $1,500, and I'll have a spare motor and transmission for the silver one over there. So just that alone's worth the $1,500. A lot of, not including all the panels and everything that I'm going to keep as spares for this one. So just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on with the SI, and a partial rundown of what stage 2 is going to look like for this thing. So hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you next time.